That's the way it is. The cargoes come and go to and from Tasmania by land, sea and air. For Tasmania, considered a farming state by many, has a thriving industrial heart. Sea Road, to and from this island state, provides a drive-on, drive-off ferry service for cars and heavy transports. Just out of Devonport is Tasman Scottish Carpet Manufacturing Proprietary Limited, one of our newest firms which came all the way from Scotland because of a faith in the future of industrial Tasmania. It's producing carpet at the rate of thousands of square yards a month. And northwest of Devonport is Associated Pulp and Paper Mills Limited, which produces 80% of Australia's fine writing and printing paper. This massive plant brings prosperity and employment to another of our ports. The logs from which the paper is manufactured come from extensive eucalypt forests. But we'll have to get rolling if we're to see the two faces of Tasmania, its beauty and its industrial heart. The sea is the main artery to this island state, and its great road network, the veins. Veins which throb to the beat of big trucks which carry the lifeblood to and from its healthy heart. Let's detour inland to Railton. This is the firm of Goliath Portland Cement, which not only supplies the whole of Tasmania with this important material, but exports thousands of tons annually. While we've been pottering round at Railton, the miles have been flying under the wheels. Tasmania, a little touch of England in the great Southland, or so the English people who come to live here tell us. The production of vegetable crops plays a big part in another of our industries, Gordon Edgell, one of Australia's biggest food processing firms. These peas will be canned and frozen. Tasmania, an island steeped in history, a land where the old rub shoulders with the new, each with its place, each in its place. The first leg of our journey brings us to Launceston, a thriving, bustling northern city. Peter's Ice Cream Factory, an important industry to Launceston. You'll notice the surrounds of this factory, the wide green lawns and planted trees, which fit as a garden centre in the landscape. Peytons and Baldwin's, the largest wool spinning mill in Australia, with more than 2,000 on its payroll. This sizable plant covers 14 acres. From the many transport depots in Tasmania, semi-trailers, trucks and vans carry goods to all parts of the state and by sea road to the mainland. All this travelling means wear and tear on engines, particularly bearings. But Launceston has the answer to this. The northern city has Repco Bearing Company, which exports bearings to some 30 countries, including the United States and Canada. Repco is a big name throughout Australia as the leading bushing manufacturer, and Tasmania has a part in this gigantic industry. That big chap is heading for Bell Bay to the north of Launceston, where we'll see some of the state's most impressive industries. Bell Bay, the home of Temco, a large Australian plant producing ferromanganese, an ingredient which is vital to the high-grade steel industry. Temco, the Tasmanian Metallurgical Company, is a part of the giant Broken Hill proprietary complex. And right next door is Comalco Aluminium. This firm has set a target of 52,000 tons annually, a new production record. The wheels keep spinning day in and day out. This truck is heading for the northeast and Scottsdale, a prosperous town with a fast-growing industry, Dewcrisp, a branch of the giant Kraft organization, which has now become a major Australian firm in the processing of frozen, canned and dried peas and dehydrated vegetables. There's one important industry which cannot be overlooked despite the fact that it has no factory, the tourist industry. Tasmania has much to offer in the way of natural beauty, ranging from hundreds of miles of ocean and sand beaches to mist-shrouded highland lakes, well known among trout fishermen all over the world. If you want to go hunting, shooting, fishing, or just sightseeing, you name it, we've got it. After our short diversion into the tourist industry, we'll go through miles and miles of suburbs spread along the banks of the Derwent River before we come to the capital city of Hobart. Just off the road at Claremont is Cadbury's chocolate factory, the Garden Factory, one of the most modern in the world. Tasmanians are justly proud of this showpiece, set in the middle of green parkland. The Electrolytic Zinc Company is Tasmania's largest private business. The huge plant processes Australia's zinc concentrates and byproducts which include fertilizer. The EZ Company supplies the British Commonwealth and Near East with its products. Close by, you have Austral Bronze and Silk and Textile Printers, whose factory is unique in Tasmania in that it screen prints and also weaves cloths. The firm Swallow Haywood produces more than 3 million pounds of biscuits each year in the most modern biscuit factory in Australia. Our driver has a strict schedule to keep, and all roads lead to Hobart, jewel of the south, nestling at the foot of Mount Wellington beside one of the most beautiful harbours in the world. Its streets still follow the pattern of Hobart Town, the old world city. But that's all gone. From the 120,000 inhabitants, you get an air of prosperity and well-being which is found in few other cities in the world. A city where the port is in the business centre itself, where the big overseas ships seem parked in the main city area, where Hong Kong, Calcutta, Abadan, New York, London, Sydney and Melbourne all seem so close. This is the point from which Tasmania's apples and pears and secondary products leave for all parts of the globe. Modern airliners carry passengers and freight to mainland terminals. From Electrona, a few miles south of Hobart, comes calcium carbide, from which acetylene is made, and agricultural lime. And all this from hydroelectricity, which forms a web over the state, a web which services such plants as the Boyer paper mills, small farms in the far west, and the mighty mountain of copper at Mount Lyell. The Mount Lyell Mining and Railway Company Limited at Queenstown on Tasmania's west coast is the second biggest producer of copper in Australia. During its life, Mount Lyell has yielded many millions of tons of ore for the recovery of thousands of tons of pure electrolytic copper. And from this ore comes worthwhile quantities of gold and silver. This is El Dorado. This is the mine of the early Aztec civilizations set in a modern age. And this is industrial Tasmania, jewel of the great Southland. This is Tasmania, the agricultural state with the thriving, healthy, industrial heart.